Today, I'm going to do a quick run through of a little bit about what I'm working on behind the scenes at the Museum of Crypto Art, MOCA. Um, for those who don't know, just do a quick overview of MOCA. The Museum of Crypto Art's a nonprofit institution, and we are dedicated to preserving the crypto art movement, really pushing the kind of notions of self-sovereignty and kind of the early ideals of the crypto art movement. Um, and here we can see, if you guys can see this, let's look at, so we have a permanent collection of artwork that we've acquired, and this is never for sale. This will be on a permanent kind of rotation. We have lots of different exhibits and shows in virtual worlds. We're wholly virtual based, mostly in Somnium space to date, but we've done shows across lots of different worlds. But our Genesis collection here started really with a couple hundred different artworks from a couple hundred different artists, and of all across different aesthetics, different styles, different regions, different everything. So since then, a big mission of ours, I joined the team a bit over a year ago now, and as their architect, and we've been thinking about how do we create more decentralized curation of these artworks, but also more decentralized curation of the shows that we can put on. And we can't be the only one. If we're a decentralized museum, what does that look like, basically? What can that be? And how can we create different kinds of experiences that aren't limited to like one exhibition put on by MOCA itself, but we want to open that up to lots of people. So what we've done with that is created, you can create your own profile in the MOCA DApp. Anyone can create one. Here is mine, if you can see it. And through here, you can for free activate a handful of NFTs, whatever you like, really, into the MOCA community collection. So this is our way of basically opening up curation. People can decide what crypto art is to them. There's some cool features here where you can kind of like, create different tabs. I have an architecture tab here with some architecture of some of the folks in this group, actually. Here's solids by far. There's some habitats down here as well. And so from there, we've been building out some curation tech that allows us to drop these into 3D architecture. And that is leading me to rooms. So rooms are, let's launch the DApp here. Well, first, to give you some background on rooms, we launched these mint passes we call Floor. Floor are, it's a fork of the Nouns DAO project. So one of these runs every day. One of them just finished earlier. It's a big room. Each of these numbers represents how many artworks can be exhibited in a space. So most of them are 16s, but you can kind of flip back and see the different ones. There's lots of different types. And what you can do here is this tells you it's basically a mint pass for a 16 slot room. So let's open the DApp and we can show you what that means. Here we go. Now we just launched this, so forgive me if there are any bugs. This is pretty early on here. But I made a handful of different room prototypes so that people can start to stage artwork and see what their art in these 3D environments looks like. Each room, when we go live, is going to be one-of-one collectible architecture. So anyone can basically own a room. They can outfit it with any art that they like, and then populate it across virtual worlds. So today, I thought it would be fun. Let's try this out and see what happens. I haven't done this live yet, so let's see what happens. But basically what this will allow me to do is tap into my profile, my MOCA profile, and then allow me to stage a room with artwork that I have activated. And it's taken just a little minute. Let's see. Try reloading it. A little slow. I have some backup rooms if I need to, but basically, let's try this again. Right. There will be glitches. But what you can see when this loads is a staging. It's basically a staging app. So I can put in NFTs onto my room. And then what this demo allows me to do is download that GLB. Here we go. So what I can do, here's the room prototype. What I can do is go to a slot. And then from here, I can add any of the NFTs that I have in my profile onto that slot. So let's search my architecture tab just for fun. So we'll put this is a solid by far, who's also. Oh no. Oh really? Oh, that's no good. No. Oh no. So should I reset it? I'm streaming my window. That's strange. Oh no, I'm on the same window. I don't know why it would. Let's see. Let's try. Yeah, let me do that. Sorry about that. Oh, that's a bummer. We're getting the cool stuff. Okay. Let me try this again. Window, Chrome tab. Yeah, okay. Can you guys see this? Excellent. All right. So this is the cool stuff. So basically, this is a demo of 3 different or 4 different room prototypes. So these will be one-of-one collectible architecture that you can stage with your artwork. And we're going to test that out and then download it and upload it so we can walk around the space in person. But if you can see this, I'm going to click on the 16 in the middle.
Yep.
Can you guys see this? Awesome. Okay. So this is a 3D model that will be, we're going to do, we have a system here so architects can basically submit their own 3D NFTs. There'll be GLB files, FBX files, multiple file types, box files. And what you can do is, if you go to a slot, you can outfit it with an NFT that you've activated in your profile. So what I'll do, from what I was saying before, I'll put in a solid by far here. We can go to a bunch of different ones. I'm just going to do a few here so you guys get a sense of it. But basically, this allows you to stage a show, an exhibition. And what's cool about this, what I think is going to be really neat, is actually kind of the multiplayer functionality of staging art. So what you can do is go to MOCA Show, which is basically group curated exhibits. And I'm part of a handful, so you can do, like, there was a cyber brokers community here. There are a bunch of different addresses here that have activated cyber brokers. That's one of my cyber brokers. And so what's neat about that is it's all on chain. It's all gas free. We're using Polygon for a lot of the handshakes of this. But what you can do then is have an on-chain curated show. And that's been really hard for us as a museum, is basically having NFTs all in the same place to put in an exhibit like Insomnium Space or Decentraland. This ideally will make it easier for people to do that. So what we can do here, let's do just one of the couple at the top. Let's see. So you can select your different slots. let's put my spiffy salty up there too. So with this demo, what you can do, you've got this, you can stage your art how you like. Then you can click download. It might take a moment. And then I will upload this into Hubs so we can walk around it. So let me hop back here, and I'm going to drag this in. It might take a hot second. It should work. All right, drop the file in. I know I tested this earlier, so it might take a second or two. But what I'm really excited about is that we're developing not just a download and then drag and drop option, but there's a series of APIs that will stream artwork changes to different virtual worlds that just read the room NFT that you have in your wallet. So basically, if you stage something differently in the app, it will reflect automatically across the virtual worlds that you have this plugged into. So I think that's a huge bottleneck, I know, for us. Here is the room. I'm going to scale this puppy up so we can walk around it. I might have to bear with me for this one. Yes. So this is it. You can see the artwork that we looked at. I'm going to try to scale it up so we can move around it. Oh, can someone grab it?
All right.
Yeah, I'll pin it. I'm going to settle it down here and then make it a little bit bigger so we can step inside. Might be a little wonky, but we can fly around it and, you know, you get the idea. But yeah, so basically you can see the artwork that we staged. There's the far work out here for solids. On the other side, there's a habitat. And so yeah, this is an early version of rooms. And we're inviting actually a ton of different architects to participate in this. It'll be pretty open because we want a lot of people to basically, you know, design galleries of their own. So this will be open for anyone, especially in the Neon Buidl group, to submit rooms to be tokenized. And yeah, I think we're super excited about it. Honestly, major kudos goes to Renee and the amazing tech team that we have at MOCA. I'm just a builder, and we've been working on this together. But Renee is just super brilliant, and this has been a very cool project. Renee, yeah, oh my God, he's a super talented guy, and yeah, for me as an architect, honestly, I think this will really open up what people can create and what people can explore in the open metaverse, and not make it so kind of localized to something where you build on a land. I know I've had this trouble. You build on land, and then you're kind of, the build is stuck there. That's no fun, and I don't think that's the way the metaverse should be built. So yeah, we got it. So we're Null. I really want a tree house from Null as a room.
Need.
But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, that's pretty much the extent of it. We can download another room if you want, but one is a pretty good example too.
I was wondering, it's really cool. So, with the when you mint like an instance in one of these rooms, are you saying there's like a token on Polygon that's generated, and then is there docs around the metadata standards that you guys have for this? So if like the world wants to like assimilate this, you guys have documentation around how the metadata is hosted?
Yes. So Renee has that, and he's working on a kind of a preliminary version of it where the NFT of the room itself will be on Ethereum, but then the staging tech and the staging metadata will be on Polygon.
Yeah, I like that. That's super cool.
Yeah, so I think that allows us to have a lot of flexibility in how. One thing I should say too is that each of these rooms is basically an archive of 3D data, so that I think through Graph, Renee has it so that you can basically recall past galleries and past iterations of this, and the architect can make updates even to the 3D model that all gets stored in the same room NFT. So there's a lot for us as a museum. That's super important for us to have provenance and also a record of different kind of like iterations of this as the metaverse gets more advanced, and as galleries change. So yeah, I think we have some API documentation for how we're streaming this basically to different virtual worlds. And once I have that, I don't know if we have it public yet, but I will speak with Renee and see if we have anything that we can share publicly, or we could just message it to you probably.
Yeah, sweet. I just messaged him. I'll have a look. This is great though. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think I'm super excited about this. We hope that Renee keeps calling it, it's like an art blocks playground for architecture or a super rare for architecture kind of platform. But we really want a lot of architects to be able to submit and have their own interpretation of what galleries can be. And I think by extension, that just means that the MOCA footprint is suddenly very decentralized. We're not in charge. We're not the tastemakers of curation that's open to the public, and even the architecture itself that is open to what people determine metaverse architecture to be. So I think that's super in keeping with how we're thinking about what a museum looks like in the crypto art scene. I know I, for one, yeah. Cool, guys. And thanks for, yeah, Jack, go ahead.
No, Kirk, I was going to ask, I'm curious, like, what's your process for this? Like, does it start with a sketch? Do you like see something and get inspired and take it from there? I would love to hear how something goes from like 0 to 1 with this for you.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you'll notice a lot of these have kind of repeated building elements. Like I'm obsessed with, stairs, archways, different kind of things like that. I'm actually just about to release kind of a blog post about just that, like how I make these. Everything is modular. There's like building elements that I can kind of collage together to create these. And honestly, I've been thinking about like a theme for this, and I always look a lot at Roman architecture and medieval architecture in Rome, which basically they had this reuse of building elements over time that recreated all these different buildings throughout Rome. So you'd have in the medieval area like a piece of marble that would be refitted or remade into an existing or modern, quote unquote, modern building. So I like that kind of philosophy in this, where I really start with a series of building parts and then kind of collage them in different ways to create different types of spaces and different kinds of experiences. So, for me, I'm kind of a traditional architect in that sense. I really love looking back at some of the way that we used to build and trying to weave that into lessons in the metaverse. So a lot of this is very modular based, and since each room itself can adapt over time, I want to make sure that I can as a builder like have a system so I can adapt the building easily if standards are to change. If, for example, neon, the rules of emissions change, I need to kind of have a modular framework so that I can update these.
That's sick. That's really, really cool.
Thanks, guys. I'll send. I posted this the other day. Here's a pretty cool. I'll post this in the chat. This is me staging artwork from start to finish and then dropping it in Webiverse, which well, all of you are probably familiar with. And yeah, it's just a similar. It's using the same build, so it'll give you a sense of what this could look like in another world and how you can treat it differently. But yeah, I think we're really excited about this. I think architecture, my stuff looks pretty traditional in a lot of ways, and I think I'm excited to see what galleries can look like created by you guys, by different builders, not just architects even, but like I want a room designed by a hacker. I want a room designed by obviously like a game dev, by an artist. I think these can be more sculptural. There's a lot of ways that at the museum we're thinking about what this could look like and why. I think I'm pretty stuck in my head with staircases and archways, but I have a soft spot for those.
Yeah, this looks so good. Any other questions for Kirk while we're on this?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Doing good.
How are you? Yeah, I have one question. So because I joined in the middle of when you were talking about the metadata in Polygon. So how does actually work?
So yeah, I probably am not the best person to speak to how the metadata is stored on Polygon, but Renee has. I'll try to find some documentation on this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We might have it here. I don't know if we actually. It might lead to this, but it's a good question. Here's our kind of wiki on rooms that I just shared in the chat. But yeah, I mean, Polygon just makes it so much easier to make kind of micro updates to things. And since we want this to be very iterative and to have the kind of curation data stored, so when you kind of have multiple addresses contributing to a show, or you make changes to the artwork itself or to where the artwork is, Polygon obviously is a lot easier and cheaper to make those kind of changes. I don't know specifically how we're doing it. I wish I was more technical, but I'm not. I can't pretend to be. So
No, that's okay. Yeah, I think I understand it. How what is the poly count in this usually?
good question. So what I'm doing with a lot of these designs is trying to make them super compatible for this is a 16, so it could fit, I believe, on a 2x2 on Decentraland. And the poly count should work with that. A lot of these, I'm trying to make them simple enough that they can be ported across worlds without it being too much of a headache.
Yeah.
But I don't know the poly count for this one offhand, but I know that when I'm testing these out, I want them to be as compatible as possible.
So yes, less than 20K.
Yeah, it should be less than 20 gigs. Decentraland, as you guys know, is pretty brutal when it comes to requirements like that.
Yeah, but it seems like everyone is in this direction, even like the other side, right? Seems like everyone wants to do like a low poly. I mean, it makes sense, right? Okay, if you want to load like several buildings in one scene, at the end of the day, it's complicated.
Yeah, and I think it'll get. I mean, it's like with platforms like HyperFi. I think Null mentioned the other week he has like 1 million faces or polygons on one in one environment. So all this stuff is changing. I think the trick is to be able to make a system that can adapt over time. But
Yeah.
yes, I think we're low poly now, but I'm sure a lot of this stuff will evolve.
Yeah, what I was thinking, my approach was that I was doing high poly, and then for the solids, yeah, I was doing high poly, and then with the vision to downgrade them. So I'm gonna release like the low poly version for them. But I was thinking like you, like, well, like this might change, but it doesn't look like this is gonna change anytime soon because yeah, Unreal you can load super high poly, no problem, but you need to download them, or how are you gonna transfer them through the internet, right? You have like a super heavy scene. It's kind of like a crazy, and even for mobile devices, it's complicated too. So, but yeah, it's an interesting limitation, right? That we need to deal with.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing is figuring out that kind of sweet spot of how complex do you go, and it's a really interesting builder's challenge because you really but yeah, I love with solids that curves are interesting because they can be super complex in a high poly, but they can also be it's you, Charles. But they can be less complex as well. So they can be, they're an interesting kind of shape type because flats just, it's kind of one polygon versus a curve. Curves are expensive.
Yeah, I'm working on a project now that uses that they have like curve models, but then when you downgrade them to very low poly, like for the Decentraland,